Firefighters respond to unattended gas stove incident at Stabroek Market. At approximately 8:33 p.m. on January 31, 2025, firefighters were called to a fire incident at stall 22D, Stelling View, reportedly caused by a two-burner gas stove left unattended with contents still in a pot. The stall, measuring 5 by 3 meters, is owned by 74-year-old Michael Hughes of Lot 133 Friendship, East Coast, Demerara. Fortunately, the stall did not incur any damages, thanks to the quick actions of passers-by who intervened. They successfully turned off the gas bottle and disposed of the lit pot by removing it through an open window. In light of this incident, the Guyana Fire Service is once again urging the public to refrain from leaving gas stoves unattended while in use. They also emphasize the importance of ensuring that all gas cylinders are turned off when not in use to prevent similar incidents in the future. Businessman robbed of jewelry and cash in Corentyne. An armed robbery took place on Friday night at the home of 31-year-old businessman Ravindra Somai, also known as Buxton, around 7:15 p.m. at his tint shop. Two masked men, armed with handguns, approached the shop on a black and red XR motorcycle. They threatened Somai and his workers, demanding their valuables. At the time of the robbery, Somai was wearing 2 gold chains and a gold band, which were among the items stolen. The robbers also took $400,000 in cash and a Samsung S22 Plus phone valued at $120,000. During the incident, one of the suspects struck Somai on the head with a handgun before forcing him to surrender his jewelry and money. After securing the items, the robbers fled the scene on their motorcycle. Authorities are currently investigating the incident, and police are actively searching for the suspects involved. Community members are urged to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities to assist in the investigation. Providence man killed in hit-and-run accident. The Guyana police force is investigating a tragic hit-and-run accident that occurred around 8:51 p.m. on January 31, 2025, on Mocha Access Road. The incident involved an unknown motor vehicle and a pedestrian, identified as 56-year-old Patrick Singh, a Guyanese of Indian descent residing at Lot 9 Providence. Preliminary investigations suggest that Singh was either walking, standing, or lying on the southern side of the road when he was struck by the vehicle, which was traveling west. The impact resulted in significant injuries to his head and other parts of his body. The driver of the vehicle failed to stop and render assistance, fleeing the scene immediately after the collision. Emergency medical technicians, EMTs, arrived shortly after the incident and found Singh unconscious. He was transported to the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, where he was pronounced dead on arrival by Dr. Etwaru. His body is currently at the hospital's mortuary, awaiting a post-mortem examination. Inspector Ramdas and a team of police officers arrived at the scene around 9 p.m. on the same night. Despite efforts to locate eyewitnesses and gather evidence, the search proved unsuccessful. However, a nearby CCTV camera was identified, and authorities plan to review the footage as soon as possible. The incident was officially reported to the police at 8:55 p.m. on January 31st, and investigations are ongoing. The police are urging anyone with information regarding the accident to come forward and assist with their inquiries. Captured, wanted man Ronald Balgobin found hiding under bed. At approximately 7 p.m. last evening, police officers from the Timeri police station acted on a tip-off and conducted a search at Lot 1, Land of Canaan. During the operation, they successfully located wanted fugitive Ronald Balgobin, who was found hiding under a bed. 2 other individuals at the location were also arrested for the offense of harboring a wanted person. Ronald Balgobin, a 31-year-old taxi driver from Linden, was the subject of a wanted bulletin issued by the police last week. He is wanted for questioning in connection with the alleged abduction of Bamati Penny Basant, a 37-year-old housewife from Annandale, East Coast, Demerara. This incident reportedly took place on October 27, 2024, around 10 a.m. in Annandale. Authorities have not provided further details regarding the ongoing investigation, but the capture of Balgobin marks a significant development in the case. Police are expected to continue their inquiries as they seek to gather more information on the circumstances surrounding the abduction. Bucket Brigade saves Essequibo home from destruction by fire. On Friday, January 31, 2025, a group of public-spirited neighbors came together to form a bucket brigade, successfully saving the home of 71-year-old Selena Beater from being completely destroyed by fire. The Guyana Fire Service received a call about the fire at approximately 1:26 p.m. However, upon arrival, They found that the flames had already been extinguished by the quick actions of the community members. The fire is believed to have been caused by a makeshift drop cord with a slack connection, which sparked and ignited nearby combustible materials. The incident resulted in damage to the northeastern side walls of the house, as well as the loss of household items, including a 2-by-1-meter wardrobe, 2 full-size mattresses, and 3 window curtains. The property, a 1-flat concrete structure measuring 15 m by 12 m, was occupied by Selena Beater and several family members. Keisha Payne, 21, Ian Marks, 37, Carrie Beater, 20, Cian Payne, 18, Jermaine Williams, 15, Annie Eliza Marks, Alicia Corentyne, 12, and Emily Corentyne, 16. Fortunately, no lives were lost in the fire. In light of the incident, the Guyana Fire Service is urging the public to use appropriate extension cords in their homes to prevent electrical fires. They also advise against overloading electrical sockets and power strips to enhance safety. New political movement launched, Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity, ALP. A new political movement, the Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity, ALP, was officially launched on Saturday afternoon. The movement is headed by Simona Brooms, a former minister in the A Partnership for National Unity and Alliance for Change, APNU plus AFC, coalition government. During the launch event, Brooms outlined the vision and goals of the ALP, emphasizing a commitment to promoting liberty, economic prosperity, and social justice for all Guyanese citizens. She expressed her belief that the new movement would serve as a platform for positive change and inclusivity in the political landscape. Brooms stated, "The time has come for a fresh perspective and a renewed commitment to the values that truly matter to our people. We are here to listen, to engage, and to work alongside our citizens to build a better future." The launch attracted a diverse crowd of supporters, including former colleagues, community leaders, and members of the public who are eager for change. Many attendees expressed their excitement about the new movement and hope for its potential impact on governance in Guyana. As the ALP begins its journey, it aims to address key issues facing the nation, including economic development, education, and healthcare, while fostering a culture of transparency and accountability in government. With Simona Brooms at the helm, the Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity is poised to make its mark on the political scene as it seeks to connect with voters and establish itself as a viable alternative in the upcoming electoral landscape. Laborer found guilty of 2018 murder in retrial. Guyana Chronicle. After nearly 4 years on the run, 37-year-old Damien Bissoon, also known as Damien Sardina and brother, has been found guilty of the 2018 murder of Taj Andrew Jarvis. A jury reached a unanimous verdict on Thursday at the High Court in Georgetown, concluding a retrial that began on January 22, 2025, before Justice Damone Young. Bissoon, a laborer from Shell Road, Kitty, Georgetown, was accused of fatally stabbing 27-year-old Jarvis on March 30, 2018, at the intersection of Barr and Alexander Streets, Kitty. Prosecutors Alvaro Ramatar and Delon Fraser represented the state, while defense attorney Ronald Bostwick defended Bissoon. Evidence presented during the trial revealed that Jarvis and a friend were walking along Alexander Street when they were confronted by Bissoon. Reports indicate that Bissoon struck Jarvis and then stabbed him. After Jarvis fell, Bissoon reportedly kicked him several times in the head before fleeing the scene. Jarvis was rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation but was pronounced dead on arrival. Following the incident, police issued a wanted bulletin for Bissoon, who managed to evade capture for almost 4 years before surrendering to authorities in 2022, accompanied by his lawyer. During the retrial, the prosecution provided evidence linking Bissoon to the crime, including testimony from Ian Mentor, who recounted the events leading up to Jarvis's death. Mentor testified that the confrontation arose from a demand for repayment of a debt, which escalated into a violent altercation. After deliberating, the jury returned a unanimous guilty verdict. Following the verdict, Bissoon, who maintained his innocence, was informed by Justice Young of his impending sentencing. He has been remanded to prison, with a sentencing hearing scheduled for February 25, 2025. Bissoon's first trial for the murder began in October 2024 but ended in a hung jury, prompting Justice Peter Hugh to order the retrial. For men charged in connection with armed robberies in Corentyne, Brutus. 4 men, including an 18-year-old, have been remanded to prison after being apprehended in connection with a series of alleged armed robberies in the Corentyne area. The arrests occurred during an intelligence-led operation conducted by detectives in Regional Division No. 6 on January 29, 2025. The suspects, charged with robbery under arms committed against a female on January 28, 2025, at Tain, Corentyne, R. Jusha Behari, 24, a laborer from Hampshire squatting area. Nathaniel Lachmana, 20, a laborer from Lot 1, Hampshire. Sahil Hardin, 24, a porter from Lot 8 Nig Road. Brian Sundat, 18, a laborer from Port Morant. The charge was laid under Section 222C of the Criminal Law, Offences, Act, Chapter 801 of the Laws of Guyana. The four accused appeared at the Wim Magistrates Court on January 31, 2025, where the charge was read to them, and they were not required to plead. They were all remanded to prison, with the case adjourned to February 28, 2025. Additionally, Jusha Behari, Nathaniel Lachmana, and Brian Sundat face another charge related to a robbery involving 3 individuals on January 22, 2025, at Rose Hall Town. They appeared at the Albion Magistrate Court, where they were also remanded to prison, with their case scheduled for February 28, 2025. Behari faces further charges for 2 separate incidents of robbery. He is accused of robbing a 39-year-old self-employed woman from Nig Village of $300,000 cash and other items valued at $1,550,000. He is also charged with robbing a 31-year-old domestic worker from Fyrish Long Dam of $15,000 cash and a cellular phone valued at $41,000. Both charges were read to him at the Albion Magistrates Court, where he was not required to plead, and the cases were postponed to February 4, 2025, for report. The police continue their investigations into these incidents as the community remains vigilant against crime. DPP appeals dismissal of fraud charges against David Patterson. Guyana Chronicle. The Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, Shalimar Alihak, SC, has filed an appeal against the dismissal of fraud charges involving David Patterson, former Minister of Public Infrastructure under the previous A Partnership for National Unity Plus Alliance for Change, APNU plus AFC, Government, and Ralston Adams, former General Manager of the Demerara Harbour Bridge Corporation, DHBC. The charges stem from an alleged conspiracy to defraud DHBC of $162,635,015 between November 18, 2016, and February 1, 2018, related to a feasibility study for a new Demerara River Bridge. Patterson and Adams were accused of conspiring with each other and unidentified individuals to misappropriate funds from the corporation's asphalt plant account for a project outside DHBC's mandate. On January 17, 2025, Senior Magistrate Laron Daly of the Georgetown Magistrates Courts ruled that there was insufficient evidence to support the allegations of a fraudulent agreement, leading to a not guilty verdict for both men. In response, the DPP has submitted a notice of appeal to the Court of Appeal, seeking to overturn the ruling. The appeal also requests that Patterson and Adams bear the costs of the proceedings. A date for the hearing has yet to be set. The fraud allegations were prompted by findings from the Public Procurement Commission, PPC, which investigated the Auditor General's report for the 2016 fiscal year. The report indicated that the Ministry of Public Infrastructure had violated the Procurement Act by awarding a contract in 2016 to Leven CSO Engineering Contracting BV, a Dutch company, for the feasibility study and design of the new bridge. This was done despite the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board's, NPTAB, recommendation to retender the project. Patterson defended the sole sourcing decision, citing urgency and claiming cabinet approval for the selection of Leven CSO. Subsequent investigations by the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, led to the charges against Patterson and Adams in January 2021. Both were granted bail of $200,000 pending trial. The PPC's report concluded that the contract award should have been administered by the NPTAB, noting that according to Section 17, subsection 1 of the Procurement Act, the NPTAB is responsible for overseeing tenders exceeding prescribed amounts. For the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, consultancy projects costing over $5 million must be managed by the NPTAB, as highlighted in the PPC's findings. Court to rule on SOCU's application for Brutus bank records. Guyana Times. The Georgetown Magistrates Court is scheduled to rule on February 7, 2025, regarding an application by the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, seeking access to the bank records of embattled Assistant Police Commissioner, AG, Calvin Brutus. This announcement was made during court proceedings before Chief Magistrate, AG, Faith McGusty. During the session, SOCU's prosecutor, David Brathwaite, also requested access to the bank records of contractor Corwin Nicholson, who has been jointly charged with Brutus in a high-profile financial crime case. This move follows Soku's efforts to obtain key banking information from Demerara Bank as part of its ongoing investigation. Defense attorneys, led by Dominic Bess, were granted additional time to submit a written response to Soku's application, with a deadline set for the same date. Magistrate McGusty confirmed she would issue her ruling on February 7th, determining whether Soku will be granted access to the sought-after bank records. The prosecutor was instructed to provide an index of statements outlining the evidence and charges against Brutus, Nicholson, and other accused parties by that date. The matter involving Brutus and Nicholson has been adjourned to February 7th, while Brutus' wife, Adonica Alder, who is also jointly charged, will have her case deferred to February 14, 2025, at 10:30 a.m. A gag order remains in place concerning any legal proceedings related to Alder unless a contrary court order is issued. Brutus has faced mounting legal challenges since his indictment on charges related to financial misconduct and fraud. These allegations have prompted an extensive Soku-led investigation, resulting in the freezing of multiple bank accounts linked to Brutus, Alder, and several associates. Brutus, a 44-year-old attorney with 25 years of service in the Guyana Police Force, GPF, was initially charged in October 2024 with 30 offenses, including money laundering and misconduct in public office. The charges stem from allegations that between December 2023 and July 2024, he authorized payments totaling over $102 million to 3D Construction, owned by Nicholson, for goods that were never supplied to the GPF. In November 2024, additional charges brought the total to 231, with Brutus granted bail totaling $16.25 million. In January 2025, Soku filed an application under Section 12 of the Evidence Act for access to the bank records of Brutus and his co-accused. Moreover, Brutus has been accused of attempting to leave Guyana via Brazil, violating a court order prohibiting him from leaving the jurisdiction. His legal team has denied these allegations, asserting he had no intention of fleeing. In a related matter, Brutus has filed a $400 million lawsuit against Soku and several senior members of the GPF, claiming that the charges against him are baseless and constitute an abuse of power. This case has drawn significant public attention due to the involvement of high-ranking police officials and the substantial sums of money involved. As the situation develops, the court's ruling on February 7th will be crucial in determining the next steps in this high-profile case.